for quite a few years, but there's a couple of friends of mine who have watched it for a lot longer.
Yep.
And I think we're going to bring them in. They just joined the PMLB family.
Yep.
They have their own show. They filmed their pilot already. And so we're going to go ahead and bring them in.
All right, guys, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Oh, yes, are they on yet? No, they're not on yet. Hold on. Hey, guys, can you hear us?
Yes, sir. We're good.
There they are.
So it's Daren and Nick from P2P PFP Sports.
Pound for pound sports
Pound for pound sports talk. Well, guys, you heard what I talked about. All right. Come on now. Tell me a little.
Well, I said it in our pilot show that was a very bad example for somebody who's on the fence of the MMA brutality world. Not only did you have the broken arm, you had the main event, a standing guillotine, which showed the guy basically unconscious go down to the cage. But if you compare it to other sports, MMA, I would argue, is actually less dangerous than, say, hockey, even football. You got a lot more brain damage injuries.
I mean, how often do you see a guy in football get completely knocked out? I mean, that happens too.
So that happens every game.
2 weeks ago, Colt McCoy.
Yeah.
It happens every game. It happens every game.
The difference is in that a lot of them get up and they keep playing, and they get hit again and they keep getting hit, just like, boxing. Boxing is a really good example of someone who, when they start to take a beating in boxing, they say, all right, timeout, give them 10 seconds to recover, and then they let them get beat on some more.
To take a beating even worse. Yeah. Exactly.
Whereas in MMA, it's stopped and it's over.
Yeah, but actually, guys, during the same little match that I watched one guy actually physically choke another person until they were passed out. I mean, how do you defend that? I mean, really, how do you defend it?
Well, the first thing I would say, the biggest figure that sticks out in my mind is the fact that there's been no deaths in MMA. That's a distinction.
There's been two.
There's been two.
Where?
Sam Vasquez on October 20th, 2007.
Was that at some Indian reservation?
Yes, it was at a small show, but it was sanctioned. It was sanctioned. And then Michael Kirkham in June 28th of 2010. But some other interesting, facts. Now, I did some research. I found how many people had died from boxing.
Oh, yeah.
Now, these stats are only through the year 2007 recorded, but worldwide, now the MMA ones are United States only, so I'm going to give you that too for boxing, but worldwide boxing, there's been 1,465 deaths.
Wow.
During the actual bout?
Or as a result from the bout.
Okay.
Not boxers who have died, but boxers who have died from their injuries in the ring. Not like somebody who died later on from like brain damage. I'm talking about from that particular match. And in the USA, as of November of 2007, there's been 751 deaths. Now, I know MMA is a much younger sport, but I got to think that if you average out deaths per year, boxing versus MMA, there's way more death in boxing.
I can't understand
not
that.
just boxing. Now, I wanted to go through and get deaths in all sports, but how much time do we all have?
If I could jump in here, comparing MMA to boxing, I don't...
it's like apples and oranges.
Yeah, I don't really think that's relevant. A lot of the people that are on the fence on MMA aren't boxing fans either, so it's not like they're, boxing's so safe, MMA is just brutal. A lot of those people don't like either one. So I can understand there's people out there that just aren't fans of combat sports. But at the same time, Phatman, you didn't see any excitement. You didn't see any reason why.
No. I can understand the gladiator type,
mentality.
Deal, but I just, I'm not saying ban it, but I'm just saying it's definitely not for me.
It's not for you. Yeah.
God, no.
Well, I also think people are also thrown off by the fact if you throw out the choking and the breaking of bones out, throw that out the window. I think a lot of people are put off. I know, tough thing to throw out the window, but if you can, I think a lot of people are actually also thrown off by the fact that there's only 4-ounce gloves, and that tends to, it puts a lot of people off because you're constantly worried about injury. But I think on being on a different part or different end of the spectrum, if you will, I think that actually helps the sport, because when you can't take very many shots with 4-ounce gloves. And
that's a great point.
In reality, I think that actually saves a lot of fighters, because there's no question about it when a guy gets lit up or is is basically out on his feet. I mean, that just doesn't exist in MMA. I mean, I can't speak for the...
Comparing it back to boxing again, you got those guys hitting with the big pillows taped to their fingers.
Well, I have a question, though.
And they could take multiple shots for a long time before it...
But yet, in MMA, you can use your feet, correct?
You can use your feet. However, if you're again, you're going to go back to boxing. You can't see trauma to the brain, and when you're sticking people out there, standing 8 count, a guy that's basically out on his feet. I mean, you can't see the brain swelling. You can't see any of that, and you're sending a guy out. I mean, I can't count how many times I've seen a guy who really shouldn't be out there fighting after being knocked down 2 or 3 times, and they send him out there, and you just know it's only a matter of time before the guy gets seriously injured. I think just by virtue of the fact that you do have different kinds of strikes, chokes, grappling. There's so many things that you have to be good at in MMA. I think that actually saves the head trauma, if you will. There's a lot of different ways to lose, but I think in a lot of ways that actually helps the sport and keeps people safe. It's
a combination of one of the great things about it's mixed martial art. It's an art, and you're combining boxing. You're combining judo and karate and wrestling and
street fighting.
What did street fighting? The street fighting is nothing.
I think
street fighting is not a sport.
Yeah, that's not a martial art.
Yeah, you're just throwing your bias out there.
Yeah, of course it's a bias.
But that's just your opinion.
That's just my opinion.
A lot of people, I think a lot of people are unaware of exactly how many rules there are in an MMA fight. There's a lot of people that don't know much about the sport. Nick and I, we've been watching, I don't know, 2000. Something like that. We used to have to go to the special interest to the special interest section, to rent the videos.
Spec when it was on tape.
Yeah, but
right next to the X-rated
there's
section.
a lot of rules that make it safer for the fighters.
Yeah. No, I think. Yeah, I think. I think that.
If you compare it to other sports, let's get off of boxing for a second, because boxing was the first one that I started comparing it to. But you have other sports that have the research I did showed that bicycle riding, gymnastics, cheerleading, all much more dangerous than MMA. No, no. People look at cheerleading and they see cute girls in skirts and they think of bicycle riding and stuff, and there are much more. I'm not even talking just deaths. Injuries,
broken bones. Think about broken bones. That by itself.
How long has MMA been around? As a sport. I mean, what's the difference?
Thousands of years.
What's the difference between MMA and UFC?
UFC is a company. No, UFC is a company that has MMA fighting.
Okay. So, but how long has it? Have stats been on it? Because I went to. Actually, I know that the guys have their own website, and they were working on it last week. So I just kind of popped in and out to look at it, and I watched one of the announcers that apparently what I saw that Nick had put on there was that he is one of the. He was an old fighter, and you can hear in his stuttering. He sounds like Muhammad Ali.
Who was that?
Boxing.
That's Roy Jones Jr.
That's boxing.
And that's actually a perfect example of what trauma to the head will do for you.
That's what he did? Only boxing?
Only boxing.
Only boxing.
Wow. Okay,
Strictly boxing.
Yeah. And that's a
well, I didn't say boxing's any better.
No,
Let me tell you, I'm not a huge fan of that either. So, but anyway, guys, tell us a little bit about your show and what we're going to be expecting.
Well, basically, we're very we basically watch everything. We're a little more MMA dominant, if you will, but we'll mix it up and discuss pretty much anything that's hot for the week, the month, anything that's upcoming. We also like to throw in a little parlay action in there. That's
not so much but
one of you do.
The addictive gambler here.
Yeah,
but I get where he's coming from. I used to be in the same boat. Yeah. And
you're paddling
we're
kidding me?
We're just fans of all sports, and we really enjoy talking MMA. We don't always see eye to eye on all the fighters that we watch, and it just makes for an interesting conversation. So
that said,
we're really excited.
At least we do have a forum, and finally people to actually listen to the rambling and the things that people at home normally wouldn't care about. So I'm actually really excited about that.
Yeah, we've been getting some great feedback from our pilot episode.
Yeah, the pilot was great. I enjoyed watching you guys argue over different fighters.
You guys did decide to change your name after the pilot too, right?
Yeah, so. We did have to change our name to Pound for Pound Sports. I
definitely think it's relevant, though. I mean, you can tie that in any
pound
sport.
for pound sport isn't just boxing and fighting. And pound for pound, you could make pound for pound arguments in any sport.
It's the age old
that
argument.
happened to us with Phatman and Littleboy too, so we understand. After you throw the first one out there.
Yeah.
Where can people get in touch with you guys?
We got a website. I think right now it's currently is it the old name still, guys, or did we go to the new domain name?
I believe it's a new one now.
It's the new one.
Yeah.
And it is
So it's
P4Psports.com.
P4Psports.com.
Yeah.
As of about a half an hour ago. That's why I'm stumbling.
Yeah, you
here.
get a hold of us through the website. We're currently working on finishing the website, getting our emails, our Twitter addresses.
Right.
We don't have Twitter addresses or Facebook accounts made for the show, but we will by the time
definitely.
our first show airs.
It takes time. It takes time. And the first
You guys are gonna be a weekly show.
Yeah, we're gonna be a
Definitely.
weekly podcast and webcast, kind of like your guys' show.
Right.
And
you can allow call-ins and stuff.
yeah, absolutely.
Definitely.
Yeah, we welcome emails.
No question.
It's funny, the few select people we let listen to our pilot, they've already got a mouthful
opinion.
to say to me, especially for picking on what everyone believes is the best UFC fighter. So it's been really exciting. I got no problem with people disagreeing with me, and it's been exciting. We're really looking forward to it.
It's always been one of your best qualities, though. Always going against the grain.
I always got.
Never want to go with the
Why do we want to go with the
popular
grain?
Never.
That's what makes our show entertaining.
Well, we all got to be different. Otherwise, we'd all just have bad New York Yankee tattoos on our neck. We want to be. We don't want to be. We want to be individuals. We got to be different. Spice is the variety of life.
I'm a Yankee fan, guys. No tats, though. All right. Well, you know what, gentlemen? Thanks for coming on the show. And I did watch the pilot episode, of course. PMLB. So, but
Yes.
I enjoyed it. I'll watch every week. Maybe you could teach me a little bit about MMA.
It'll grow on you.
It's
Yeah.
our pleasure.
I think
Thanks
we'll
for
too.
having us.
Thank you.
It was our
Thanks for the
pleasure. Thank you.
opportunity.
No problem. All right. Well, little
All right.
boy.